Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be making this lab coat with a back vent which can be used by medical personnel, or you can use it for whatsoever reason you need a lab coat for. So let's get straight into the making. Here is the fabric that I'll be using, and it's on fold, as you can see. So I'm just going to mark 5 inches. These 5 inches will serve as the placket, and it also serve as the facing. So I've just marked where the 5 inches is. You can put a chalk there, you can label where that is, and just fold that in. So know how long you want your coat to be. It can be between your hip and your knee for the length, but I'm using 28. Then for the width of my neck, I used 3. The depth 4 inches for the front piece, so 3 by 4, and you can just curve that. Then from there, my shoulder measurement is 16 divided by 2, which is 8, and I'll just add 1 inch there, which will act as my sewing allowance. 0.5 will be my sewing allowance and 0.5 will be my ease. Then I drop down the 9 inches here, though I decided to make an adjustment later, but right now I just dropped down the 9 inch. Then I put in my vertical measurements from my shoulder to my bust. Measurement, it's here. Then shoulder to my waist, which is 16 inches. Then shoulder to hip, 22 inches. Then my full length at the bottom, which is 28 plus 2 inches sewing allowance at the bottom. Then at the shoulder, I decided to go down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Then from the shoulder slope line, that's when I dropped the 9 inches. So that's the adjustments that I had made. So I had not made the shoulder slant before dropping the armhole. So now I've made the shoulder slope and then dropped the armhole by 9 inches, which was for the shoulder measurement. Then put in your bust measurement plus 1.5 inch, 0.5 for ease and 1 inch for sewing allowance. Your waist measurement divide by 4 plus 0.5 for ease and 1 inch for sewing allowance. Your hip measurement divide by 4 plus 0.5 and 1 inch for sewing allowance. Then go ahead and join this. I just went ahead and used my free hands for the joining. You can go ahead and use your ruler or curve ruler when joining. Then we can now go to the armhole. We can get the midpoint for the armhole, the midpoint, then go in by 0.5 inch and make your armhole curve for your front piece. Then you can go ahead and cut. So now I'll place my front piece onto the back, leaving an allowance at the fold of the back piece. So the allowance that I'm leaving here is 1.5. You can go ahead and leave as much as 2 inches if you've got enough fabric. 1.5 for the vent. Then I will go down by 1.5 inch for my back neckline. You can also use 1 inch for your back neckline and just curve it like that. Then I'll just trace in the rest of the piece. So at the vent area, make a notch where your vent will be starting from. Then from here, I want my vent to be 8 inches long. So for the 2 inches hemming allowance at the bottom, I've moved up by 10 inches to make up for the 8 inch. Then I've marked my 1.5. Alright, then you can mark a line to the 1.5, which will guide you, especially when we start sewing. You will need to sew along this vent line. So just connect this line. It's just for the vent. It will help you as you sew. Then cut out 0.5 inch from the vent allowance. Then you can slit this open, or you can leave it as it is. You can slit it open or leave it. If you slit it open, you have to close these edges either by an overlocking machine, or you can just fold them twice by 0.25 inch and make a stitch there. So as you can see, a stitch has been made at the vent allowance, and also at the bottom of the vent you can see that I folded these in. You can also just overlock them, or you can leave it without slitting it open. Then from the back part, this is how it looks like. The vent will close up here. Then just at the end of this stitch, you're going to make a slanted stitch just here up to where the vent folding is ending. Okay, so this stitch will just keep the vent in place to where it is, and then you can just slit this open like that. Then you can open this up. Like I said, the finishing of this, and you can iron it flat, you can close it up like this, or you can overlock the sides. So here is the stitch that has been made. As you can see, it sort of like holds the vent in place like that. We can now come back to the front piece. We had folded in this 5 inch for our placket and facing. So I'm going to need the placket of 1.5 inch, and the facing we're going to use 3.5. So what you're going to do is get your measuring tape and mark 3.5 from the edge of the front piece. Mark 3.5. So this 3.5 means we have left 1.5 inch for the placket. So fold this in at 3.5, fold the facing at 3.5 inch, and just put a notch there. This is where the placket will start from. Then measure 1.5 inch, which is the allowance we had left. Then go down by 0.5 inch and make a stitch here. So this is how the stitch looks like this. And even at the other side you do the same. And I also went ahead to add the pockets, guys. As you can see, the pieces are separate, so you can add your pockets. Preferably you can start from where the hip line is, going upwards according to the length of your coat. Then right sides facing each other, and join this at the shoulder. So I went ahead to join this at the shoulder. And now we can put in our sleeves. So you can use your armhole from what you have sewn to draft your sleeve. If you've not seen how to draft sleeve, there are different methods on this channel. You can check them out on how to draft your sleeve. Then now that this has been ironed, we can now fold in and hem the bottom. Okay, so I went ahead to just hem the bottom of this coat, and here's how the bottom looks like after hemming it. This is how it looks like. The next thing that we'll do, we'll go to the plackets and turn them to the wrong side like this. Then I'm going to just trim out the excess part of the facing. Trim it out like this. Then after trimming it out, you can go ahead and make a snip just here where the cotton ends, where your stitch ends. Make a snip just there. Don't cut through the cotton, just at the end, just where it ends. Then open it up like this to the right side, and it looks like this when opened from the right side. Then do the same with the other side. So this is where the collar will start from. Okay, so I've done the same even at the other side. Okay, so that is where our collar will start from. So get the midpoint of your neckline, then get the circumference of the neckline from where the snips were made, like where the placket ends. So we're going to draft the collar now, and my collar is of width of 3 inches plus 0.5 for joining at the bottom. This collar is on fold. Then put the neck circumference, you go divide by 2, put it there, then add 0.5 inch sewing allowance for joining the sides of the collar. Then from there, from this length, put it here on top and go out by 0.5 inch or 1 inch for the slant of your collar. Then you can go ahead and just cut it out. And then notch the midpoint of your collar. So here is the collar, and as you can see, I've joined the sides by 0.5 inch. So make sure you get the midpoint of the collar. Turn this collar now inside out, and you can poke out the pointed edges with the scissors. Just be gentle not to damage the fabric as you do it. So I'm done with that. So I'm going to place the center of the collar to the center of the neckline and just put pins to hold everything down like this. Make sure the collar ends where your placket ends, here at the end. That's why your collar should also reach. And also take note that when sewing the collar sides, leave a gap of about 0.5 inch so that you can be able to turn it after attaching. So you join it here. Then we're going to make a stitch down here of 0.5 inch to join the collar. This is the collar to the wrong side of the coat. So here's how it now looks like after being stitched from the wrong side. So we can now work with the right side of the collar, of which we're going to now fold in 0.5 inch. And as you can see, it encloses all the raw edges, making a neat finish. So make sure you have pins to just pin this down as you saw. That's the reason for that little gap we left for the collar. Okay, then this is how it looks. Make sure you iron down for the placket to look neat, and place your buttons. My buttons are like 6 inches away from each other, and you can determine where you want your brick point, which is the lapel, to be, and just iron it out. So mine is just somewhere at the bust point.